Well, hello there, good people. It's your boy Johny-J, and welcome to another epic photo adventure. Come with me and shoot sunrise at this amazing location. Well. Good morning. It's super early. It's about, and I look at the sky like I can just read the time from the stars, but I can't. So I'm looking at my phone. It's just after 4 a.m. and we're doing sunrise, baby. Woo. Welcome to a little place called Kingsley Beach. I love this place. It's a little tiny sort of, it's not that remote, but it's probably a lesser known beach in Johny-J National Park, and I love this spot. It's awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about what I'm seeing. As usual, I'm hearing waves. That's them in the background there, you can hear. Already up here looking over the beach with the moonlight, I can see there's a bit of weed along the beach, so that's something we're gonna have to deal with. We've either got to embrace it or frame it out somehow, so we'll see how that goes. Cloud cover, 50 to 60% of high cloud is predicted, and I would say that's probably what I'm seeing, that beautiful high cloud around the place now, so that's a good sign. Just got to make sure that the 50 to 60% is, you know, in the direction I'm shooting. That's going to be really, really important. You might also be thinking, Johnny, mate, you haven't had your decaf. How are you going to get the placebo effect to get through the morning? And you're right, I'm feeling it. I'm definitely feeling it, but don't worry, we've got coffee on the cards later. But thanks for your concern. I appreciate your concern. Thank you. So as I saw from up top, you can see all the seaweed I was talking about. It's not very pleasing to the eye, unfortunately. These patches of seaweed aren't that nice. Something else to think about when you're at the beach, it's tourist season right now, so there's absolutely footprints all over this beach that people have done during the day. But the cool thing about coming early in the morning is the tide has come in and washed back out and cleaned up all those footprints down near the water's edge. And also, don't forget, if you're going to be walking along the beach to your location, don't walk right along the nice sand and put footprints all the way through it, unless that's what you're going for. There could be a shot there using the footprints as a leading line, but in general, try not to walk along there because, you know, you may walk straight through the place that you want to photograph and you may have to spend the next hour and a half photoshopping out your footprints. Well, maybe not an hour and a half, but you get the idea. Getting light enough that we can actually see each other now, so that's a good thing. But on the downside, the clouds have moved away. If you look towards the sunset now, you'll see the clouds are all breaking up. There's not much there at all, but hey, you get that on the big jobs. But we can work with it. We can work with it. That's why we're out here early, so we can make these decisions along the way. But towards the southern end of the beach, which you can see here now, you can see we've got some cloud building up out here. So I think that's where I'm gonna focus my composition. The other thing I know definitely by looking at what the cloud's doing, the cloud is really low still towards the horizon, okay? So I think that I'm gonna have a really high horizon line. I'm not gonna show much sky at all because there's not gonna be much there to see, okay? So it means I have to find something interesting to put in that foreground, which I think I've found over here. If you have a look what I'm looking at now, you can see it's low tide. The waves, like I mentioned, are just pushing in. So we've got all these rocks exposed here and they're gonna look really, really cool. But I think it's gonna be once the sun gets up, and then the scene's going to be side lit, we're going to get some nice definition across these rocks. As I always say, you just take what you're given. You just take what Mother Nature gives you and you go with that. The other thing that's interesting, if you have a look at this, you can see on the left-hand side of your frame, which is to the north, is you can see all that seaweed there. Look at it all. That's what I found when I was coming in. It was crazy, man, the amount of seaweed is on the beach down there. And you look towards the south where I'm shooting now and where I walk down, there's hardly any weeds. So again, just adapting to whatever you're giving it. All right, so I'm just playing around with my composition here and I'm loving what these rocks are doing. Let me show you what's going on here. We've got some lovely rocks here. This one particularly, you know, anchoring that foreground there. We've got the headland coming in over here and you can see it's looking pretty nice there. I'm liking what we've got so far. You can see if I pull right out there, there's absolutely no clouds up above much of that horizon line. So I really want to make sure that in my composition that I've only really got those clouds in that top third right up high because there's nothing interesting above it that I want to show, okay? So for me, in this composition, the elements that really stand out are these rocks here leading out and this big, bold headland sticking into the scene. It's forming a bit of a, like those stepping stones through the scene, and we've still got this big, bold diagonal line. And remember, from this side, we're gonna have the light washing in. So while this side looks like there's not too much going on at the moment, remember, we're gonna have that beautiful light. That's the plan anyway, have that beautiful light coming in over there, washing the scene with that beautiful golden morning light. Maybe, just maybe, I'll shoot a long exposure. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Maybe I will. Okay, I think I've got it well balanced now. I'm pretty happy how things are looking. Check this out. It's very similar to what we started with. You know, bottom rock on the bottom third, and then stepping stones all the way out, big diagonal line in the background. I've decided to leave the headland come in on that top third up there, and it works as a nice diagonal between those 2 points, which I think is really, really nice. Always remember, when you're composing a scene, you want to have some sort of balance, you know, you want to have some sort of, you know, connection between your foreground and the background, right? I feel like my tripod height has really made a difference here. Look, for instance, if I show you, let's grab this camera, and you just watch, okay? So this is about my current tripod height, and watch that mid-ground there. You watch what happens when I lower this camera. So when I bring my tripod down, bring my camera height down, you can see what happens. That mid-ground area gets really, really squashed. All the elements in the frame there, they start to crush into each other. And as we lift our tripod up, you can see what happens is we start to get spacing between those rocks. So you can see your tripod height plays a really important part in your composition, okay? So don't always, you know, set your tripod up at eye height, put your camera down and leave it at that. Make sure you're trusting your camera, go up and down, testing your scene to see where that sweet spot is for whatever mid-ground you're using. So all the elements in your scene have some sort of separation. That's the important thing. The light's still coming up. We're still getting some sun slowly coming across the scene. Don't be afraid to constantly tweak your composition, because every time I look away and look back at it, there's always something I go, maybe I want to change this, maybe I want to change that. And I'm always trying different things to find that sweet spot. So I think I'm going to go for a long exposure. I want to really make that water nice and calm out there. And the reason being is I'm looking at the scene and I'm loving how soft the sand is on the right hand side. And I feel like I want to make the water on the left hand side of my frame also feel the same way. So I'm going to chuck an ND filter on it. Let's go with an ND8. By the way, if you haven't used these magnetic filters, I mean, there's a heap out there now. I've got the case ones. They are absolutely amazing. I know I'm a bit late to this. A lot of people have got them already, but I only recently got mine for Christmas. So, mate, these things are awesome. I absolutely love them. All right, I've got that ND8 on now, and I'm getting about 8 seconds at f11. So let's fire off a couple of shots of that and see what it looks like. See if we get that nice, smooth water like we're hoping for. Sun is about to rise over there. So let's take a look at that. Oh, that's looking really nice. Although we're losing a bit of sky there that's blown out. Loving the long. All right, so I'm just again adjusting my composition. One thing I always like to do is just zoom in and have a good look around, make sure my focus point hit and everything is nice and sharp there. And what's really cool this morning, there's been a bit of a dew in the air, so all the rocks are really wet as well. They just look absolutely epic. So just playing around with that shutter speed, just seeing if I can get this whole scene in one shot. You know, if I can't, it doesn't matter. I'll shoot an underexposed frame for the sky and blend that in later. But you know what? You want to make your life easier. If you can get it all in one exposure, do so. Oh, that's looking pretty cool. All right, so I'm starting to feel this now. Let's zoom in. Oh, I'm loving, yeah, that's cool. I'm loving that softness of the water there. Looks good. Sharpness all the way through there. Looking at that foreground rock. Let's have a look. Let's just double check our blinkies. Looking at the histogram there. Actually, we're probably just a touch underexposed. So I'm gonna go up to 5 seconds. And that should be enough to just push it to the right-hand side of the histogram that little bit more. You can see that sun is just starting to push up now. We're getting some of that side light on our rocks, which looks absolutely amazing. Things are starting to come together. I am excited. Wow, we're really starting to get dimension in the rocks now as that sun comes up. You can see it behind me here. It's about to poke its head up. We're gonna get that beautiful side light that we've been looking for here. Let's shoot another one off there at 5 seconds and see how that's looking. By the way, it's super important when you're shooting long exposures to have your 2-second timer on, because what that allows you to do is to take the shot, and you'll see I move my hands away, steadies everything up so you get no movement while that long shutter speed's going off. Love that 2-second timer. 2-second timer is like the landscape photographer's best friend. Well, maybe not best friend, but one of the coolest settings anyway. All right, let's keep going. Let's have a look at this. I feel like 5 seconds is a bit overexposed, to be honest. So I'm gonna go with 4 seconds. Let's hit one off there. Yeah, okay, looking good, looking good. So I'm definitely feeling the composition. I'm enjoying the shot. I like the long exposure. I just feel like now I want a bit more dynamic light. I feel like I want that sun to come up a little bit more and give me some more side light across my scene. I want that warm glow really kissing in across that long exposure. So anyway, we'll just wait a few more minutes and see if we get that. Sun's starting to come up now. We're getting that beautiful light kissing across our scene. Kissing, I love that. The light's kissing the scene. Oh, I love it. Anyway, I've never said that before. I just made that up today. But hey, the light is kissing the scene. All right, let's take another shot here. So we're still at f11. I feel like we're gonna get down a few more. Yeah, look, I reckon we're gonna be about 2.5 seconds now for our exposure, just to hold that sky back. But I'm loving the highlights on those rocks now. Oh, they look absolutely amazing. Loving those highlights. All right, let's press play at that. Let's check our blinkies. Yeah, looking good. We've held back that sky nicely there. And we've got some of this nice light. Look at that light there on that rock. Woo. Oh, beautiful shape in our rocks there. Getting light on our background rock now as well. I'm really, really liking that. I'm really, really liking that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take some shots that are just slightly overexposed. I feel like my camera's got enough dynamic range that I'm gonna be able to open up the shadows in post, but just in case I want more detail in that shadow area, or for some reason the shadows look too crushed, I'm gonna give myself that opportunity to blend them back in post. So you'll see here, we're up around 6 seconds now, not moving my aperture, not moving my focus point, just moving my shutter speed back now. And you'll see on the left-hand side of the histogram there now is not clipping in the shadows. So I'm just gonna take one at that. And of course, things are gonna start to brighten up now. That sun is really starting to, it's poked its head up now. We're getting that beautiful golden side light. And you can see here, if I zoom in on the sky, will be totally blown out, and that's totally fine, no worries there. But there's good detail all through those rocks there. So as this sun is coming up now, I'm gonna shoot at my underexposed frame. And when I say underexposed, it's more like a 0 exposure, maybe half a stop under, and that's gonna hold back the sky. And look, more than likely, that's gonna be enough to give me those details in the shadows, but I always like to shoot those other exposures just in case I need them. I would hate to get back and go, man, those shadows are crushed and noisy, and I didn't shoot a slightly overexposed shot for those cleaner shadows. So let's have a look at that one now. We're still getting, at 2.5 seconds, we're still getting some lovely water, you know, that silky water movement, which I'm absolutely loving there. It's flattening out the scene. And to be honest, I'm really happy with that. It doesn't look like much on camera now, but you wait till we get this back in post. This bad boy is going to look pretty nifty. Something else I'm really liking now the sun's up is we've got these really cool shadows coming off the rocks in the foreground. If I play that back there, you can just see them. Look, I'll just zoom in there for you guys. Look, so that's the frame there. You can see those shadows on the ground, that soft light just piercing in from the left-hand side. Piercing. I think I like kissing better. kissing in from the left-hand side. That works better for me. And you can see it's looking really, really lovely. Oh, loving that side light. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. There's just something about side light that adds that extra dimension to your frame. I absolutely love it, particularly when you've got things like this, you know, these wet, smooth rocks. They just glow with that beautiful side light hitting on them. All right, good people, that's it for the fieldwork part of this video. I'll see you back on the computer and I'll talk you through how I put this one together. The decaf placebo effect is real. All right, so here's the raw file out of camera in Lightroom, and I'm really happy how it turned out. I particularly love this area. Look at this long exposure here with this light bouncing off. This is really cool. Loving what that's doing there with the light playing around with those bubbles in the water. A couple of distracting elements I think need removing, but here's our Lightroom version, and I just wanted to show you guys a little tip here with the radial filter. If I turn on that mask, you can see that radial filter, what it's affecting there. So I'm using a radial filter to enhance the light coming in from the left-hand side of the frame, or kissing the scene, as I said earlier. And what I've done is just subtracted the shadows out of that with a luminosity range. So you just subtract the shadows, and that allows you to have full control over that light there. You can see if I turn that on and off, that's what we're doing, just enhancing that light, you know, bringing a bit more saturation, bringing a bit more of those yellowy tones into that area, which I think looks really, really nice. And this is our final photograph here, and you can see I ended up going with a 4x5 crop, which I think is really, really nice. I love the tones in this. It's really, really pleasing. So I'm really happy how this turned out in the end, giving the challenging conditions that we had with no clouds. Alright, good people, that's it for this one. Thanks for coming along on another photo adventure, and hey, do me a favor, if you're enjoying these videos, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and if you want to see more videos, subscribe and hit the bell and you'll get notified. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Peace!